Ladies and gentlemen, okay, so today's dissertation and or explanation of what life is like in the Philippines is going to be directed around my experience for 5 years in the Philippines in both the areas of general Philippines lifestyle, and a good portion of this dissertation is going to be about construction techniques that are not used in the Philippines. Um, Even though this may amaze you, I'm going to have a whole entire section on this topic alone in just a few minutes. So what I've done is I've put together some notes, and I'm going to read from my notes. And after I'm done reading, or if you have a question beforehand, I will address your questions. I want you to understand something. Certain questions are just going to be disregarded like they didn't exist. I'm not going to answer questions of a derogatory nature. I'm not going to answer questions from trolls, and I'm not going to answer questions about sexual uh, behaviors of Filipinas and or men. I may talk about some foreigners coming to the Philippines and their sexpat experiences, but for the most part, I'm going to keep this about the general public and what you're going to meet once you live here. Not once you get here, but once you live here. Being on vacation is completely different than living in the Philippines. Okay, and I'll give you a brief disclaimer. The reason I wear the yellow vest is because of the things that are going on in Europe and the out of control crowds in Europe, and I think they're coming to America. That's called the Yellow Vest movement in Europe. I think that kind of a scenario is going to come to America. And the reason I wear the hard hat is because it reminds me of who I am. And I am a licensed contractor, and also that I have work to do after I make these videos. So, hello, Warren. Um, my And I'll also explain to you so that it's clear as day. If I don't answer your question, it's because I either don't know who you are, or your question has no relevance, or because my members of my super chat community and Patreon community and or my long-term subscribers on YouTube will have an advantage when it comes to asking questions and getting answers. No, I did not get your email. And let's see. I did not. I have. Okay, I have not done anything involving emails. So, okay. La 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 la. Okay. I'll get to that in a few minutes. First, I want to read. Thank you, Warren. I see what you said. Okay, let's. Warren says it's important. Okay, so. Uh, oh. Uh, I I I I don't want to check it out now because it's going to have sound, and it's going to be. I Okay, hold on. I need to understand something. Does the file have sound in it, Warren? This file that you sent me? Because otherwise I'll have to turn off the sound and you'll just see a face. Warren. Boy. All right, give me a moment. I will check. Okay, it's a zip file, and I'm downloading it now. In the meantime, this is this is not fair to the other people, but I know it's important, so I'll see if it's zip file then yet. Oh, it wants me to do all kinds of stuff here. It wants me to sign into my mail. How many mails did you send me? All right. Okay. I'll look at a different mail that I see here, and I'll see if that's the written thing that you sent, because I see a zip file. No, that's on the Flat Earth news story. Okay. This kind of killed the live stream here. I'm going to go ahead with the live stream because I did spend an hour and a half. I'm going to finish up my notes. I'm going to go right to my notes now. And the title is Dating in the Philippines. Old Men, Young Women is accepted here. Not one time has anybody spoken ill of Daisy and I. Okay, questions will be addressed after the dissertation only. Although I did address Warren, it's going to be too time consuming. People are not going to stay on the stream. So I will do that afterwards. So mostly you see, from my experience, and I've been here 5 years plus now, mostly you see in the immigration office the difference or the disparity in age, and no one gives it a second thought. Not the immigration officer, not the police that you stop on the street to ask questions or directions for, and certainly not the family, for different reasons. Some people believe that the family is just after money, and maybe that's true, and maybe it's not. Daisy's family is certainly not in the latter category. They don't ask me for anything. But I will tell you that, as with most foreigners, a small pittance of money should be given to the family just to let them know that you have, you have some compassion for their needs. But when I say a small pittance, I'm talking about the price of a dinner in America, and not much more than that. And I will get to what I did last night and who I did it with for dinner, although I won't mention names. We had a great time, and that's the reason that I did not go into the city today. I need to get batteries. I have a full-on slew of things to do. Besides getting batteries, I have to get some cables for the computer. I just wouldn't have the time to do everything today, and the weather was terrible this morning. So let's talk about let's talk about Filipinos and whether or not they're happy to be with an older man, and the fact of the matter is, in most cases, they are happy to be with an older man, because older foreigners drink less than young Filipino men, and also it's reasonable to understand that older foreigners are not going to be cheating on their younger Filipino girlfriends. So that's one reason. The other reason is just simply security. They want to have a steady understanding of who their partner is. They don't want their partner gallivanting around all night. They prefer a home life that they grew up in, as opposed to going out every night, like young boys disappear all night, and then that leaves the woman home. So foreigners go out less than the younger men here, and they don't drink as much, and they certainly don't cheat as much. So that's one reason. The other reason can be financial, but it's not the case. I guess it's a 50-50 thing. The financial reason, if you have to actually give a Filipino family of your girlfriend a large quantity of money, I would question the relationship And it might be based solely on money. But like I said, a lot of foreigners, they give the Filipino women a small pittance, which is equivalent to about a dinner, um, a dinner in America, and that's acceptable because they don't go out here anyway. So that extra money that you have from going out and spending large quantities of money for things in America, here a hamburger costs $5, sometimes 10, but in America you go out for a dinner, you're looking at $15 or $20 for a decent hamburger with fries and a drink. So the disparity in the costs make it up here for to send the family a small amount of money. Plus, the girls don't expect to go out for dinner every night. If they do, you're with the wrong girl. Okay, so another reason for an older man and a younger woman would be children, where the girl needs to have an, a steady income to supply its child with medicines, books, school supplies, clothing, shoes. Because that's a big thing, shoes here. To have a pair of sneakers for a Filipino is a rare thing, and they prize their sneakers. I gave a man a pair of sneakers 3 years ago for Christmas, and you only see him wear them on Christmas and on Easter, and I found that pretty interesting. So, and he still thanks me to this day for the sneakers whenever we talk about shoes, because he'll goof and say, "Are those? Can I have those sneakers that I'm wearing?" And I will tell him no. So there could be the financial aspect, and mostly I think it's just the aspect that people are willing to just accept an older man because of the more simpler lifestyle. Okay, so now talking about Daisy and I, our experience, when we walk down the block or when we see a police officer and ask them directions, or when we go into a store or a business or a mall, no one, and I mean absolutely no one, gives it a second thought. It's totally accepted here. Now, it may be accepted for different reasons. There is the mentality that the woman is using the man for money, and then there's the mentality that the man is using the woman for sex. And if you don't know the couple, either one of those uh, possibilities exist. But for the most part, I know, well, I can honestly say I know four foreigners who have Filipino wives and or girlfriends, actually five, and the the relationships are, when I say that their relationships, I mean these are several years, more than 3 year relationships, and they're still together. So if there are problems that other people will talk about, age differences and monetary contributions to the family, that's all nonsense. If you can stay together 3 years and still have a loving relationship, then you've already bypassed all that nonsense, and there is understanding of what is to be expected from either party. So uh, don't let people tell you that it's only for money that the girls do this, because it's not. I also see older men Filipino with younger wives. My previous One of my previous landlords, her brother is my age, and his wife is 27 or 28. So there's a 36-year difference, and they just had two children. Well, 5 years ago they had two children. So that part of the culture is common with and men from America and men from the Philippines who have a little bit more money to have a younger girlfriend. And this is also his second family. So let's move on to the next thing. Uh, I did meet Daisy online after speaking with over 3,000 people, or, texting back and forth, over 3,000 people. It's not easy to meet a woman online. And I will tell you right now, do not send money to women online. Even if you think that you've talked to them. In my case, I was with a girl named Mila. That's why I went to Cebu in the first place. Biggest mistake I ever made was coming to the Philippines and giving her money the week before I got there, because she took the money and went to her cousin's wedding on the island of Dumaguete. Didn't show up at the airport and didn't send me a text or an email on the dating site. So to her, it was no big deal that I came to the Philippines to meet her, and she was the only person I had scheduled to meet. It means nothing to them, the girls online. So unless you know them personally, I would not suggest you send money. And the amount of money I sent was only $50. I said, buy a pair of shoes and a nice dress if you like. And you can, Daisy goes shopping all the time at secondhand stores, and she buys really nice stuff for $1, $2. She gets these people, they want 200 pesos for a beautiful dress or a top for 100 pesos, and she gets them down to 60% of what they ask for. I well overextended myself with Mila, and she didn't show up, and she had no remorse about not showing up, none whatsoever. So don't send people money over the internet. Even had she never shown up and just disappeared, that happens also. Once I got here, I sent the girl money for traveling expenses, and she didn't show up. So what I suggest you do is tell the girl that you'll reimburse her for the traveling money. And I'm not talking about a lot of money. I'm talking about 175 pesos to get from the end of Bohol to Tagbilaran City in a van, an air-conditioned van. And then they tell you that they need transportation money, and you say, okay, how much is the transportation? And they'll say something like 5,000 pesos. And you'll say, now you already know that it cost 175 pesos. You've already made the trip, or you've looked online, and you say, why 5,000? The trip only cost 175 pesos. And they'll tell you they have to buy shoes, and they don't have a dress, and they also want to bring one of their friends, and their friend's going to need a pair of shoes and a dress. Well, even still, all of that was less than 1,000 pesos. But they also will tell you they have to have money to get back, so you're up to 1,200 pesos. Why 5,000? Well, they'll tell you, don't you love me? At that point, just end the conversation, not the girl that you want to meet. And it's happened to me that where they ask you for that much money in advance, and I just tell them simply, don't come, or when you get here, I'll reimburse you. And I would reimburse them, even if I meet them in an outside place. I don't meet them at the house, and I meet them for breakfast or lunch only. If I don't like the girl, I just give her enough money. We have a nice lunch or breakfast, and I give them enough money to go back. That's the way I dated here. I never brought anybody home on the first date. You don't know who you're meeting. The same goes with people that wish to meet me on the internet. It's just not going to happen. If I don't know who you are and have proof of who you are, I'm not going to bring you home. Although there's not a lot of crime with dating on the island of Bohol, I have heard stories about problems where girls slip you a knockout drug on Cebu, and those girls were all internet dating on the internet, and that's what their job was. That's their skill set, was to drug a man and take their wallet and their jewelry, watches, whatever. But I haven't heard about that in Bohol, but in Cebu and Dumaguete City, that is a constant scenario that occurs. Okay, so now I'm reading from my notes. If you guys are making commentaries, I don't see them. Okay, a next subject. Although I'm sure some did. Okay, so the reason I liked Daisy was because she worked 6 days a week and had a savings of 1,500 pesos. Now that's $30. And that was the only time I ever met a girl who's admitted to having a savings. I'm sure other girls had savings. I'm positive about it, but they will tell you they're broke. So when I met Daisy, she had enough money to, she had enough money to get to where I was going to meet her, which was only 30 pesos by what they call a hobble, a motorcycle or a jeepney. And that's more money than any of the other girls said they had. They would tell you they have 0 pesos. So if you meet a girl with 0 pesos, there's probably not much chance that, and they don't have a job, there's probably not much chance of a foreigner, or especially American, and or a successful foreigner and or American, to have much in common with that girl. Now, Daisy had 1,500 pesos, and that was after she gave her parents, I think, was it 1,000 pesos per month?
What?
How many pesos when you worked at Lorraine's house? How many pesos did you? How much? 2,000. Okay, so Daisy had, and how many pesos did you earn a month?
Oh, gani, 2,000.
That's how many pesos you earned each month?
Yeah.
And how many pesos?
And then it increased when I, 1 year, 2,500.
Okay, and how many pesos did you send your mom each month?
1,000, sometimes 1,500.
Okay, so Daisy had an income of 2,000 pesos at what we call Auntie Lorraine's house, but she had a steady job 6 days a week. So 2,000 pesos was about $40. But she also lived in a house. Hold on, let's see if you're in the picture. Okay. She also lived in Auntie Lorraine's house, and it was a free room and board. And actually it was quite a nice house. So she had her own room, which was basically a closet, just a big closet, and she had a bed and a fan, and that's more comfort than a lot of Filipinos have. Because when I moved on this block where I live, an extravaganza was a light bulb in someone's house. 50% of the people on my block didn't have a light bulb. So Daisy gave her parents 1,000 or 1,500 pesos of 2,000 pesos of her salary each month. And then naturally she has to live. She has to go get the occasional lipstick and makeup and things like that. Maybe travel around to meet some of her friends. And yet she still was able to save 1,500 pesos, which is quite an accomplishment. It's the equivalent of a month's pay, okay, for some Filipinos or Filipinas. So it's not something to be laughed at. Okay, next topic is, okay, do not send money to girls over the net. I didn't send Daisy any money. She provided her own texting money. She provided her own foods and clothes until I met her, and she never one time ever asked me for even 1 peso. So say hello to everybody, and then I'll continue reading.
Hello everybody, maayong buntag kaninyong tanan here in the Philippines, in Bohol, baby.
Baby. Notice there are a lot of people using the 2 terms I have used for since the beginning of pretty much time on my internet lifestyle. Ladies and gentlemen, and we live in the Philippines, baby. Notice how many people are using those terms that are Filipino bloggers. I have. So, next topic, thank you for saying hello. As for dating, I have not met a girl with a foreigner who has cheated on them to date. Now, I know 5 people personally, and none of the girls, all of them are still dating the same woman, and none of the girls or women that I've met have ever made an advancement towards me, except one, and it was because she wanted to borrow 10,000 pesos. It was a man's wife, and her child's birthday was coming up, and she wanted to buy her a cell phone. So she wanted an advance on the rent of 10,000 pesos, which don't do it. So but she wasn't cheating on her husband, but she did ask me for money in a mannerism that I didn't appreciate. And when I mentioned it to her husband, she was really pissed off. And not too long after that, we were at each other's, the end of our, we were at the end of our relationship because of that and because of two other things. So don't give Filipino women money, even if they come to your apartment all dressed up with makeup and perfume and stuff on. It's basically just to get money from you for one reason or another. And especially if it's a foreigner's wife, don't do it. And they were legally married, so just don't do that. I should tell you right now, if a Filipino man and woman are married, and the man or the husband, the wife or the husband, get caught cheating on each other, they could be separated for 15 years. They could have children with other people. If the wife catches the husband with another woman, the woman can go to jail. If the husband catches the wife with another man, he can have the man arrested. And the way it works here is if let's just say I was dating a married woman in the Philippines, which I have never done that I know of, the husband can come and say to the police, arrest Michael Fazio. He's dating my wife. We're still married. They could be separated 15 years, like I said. And you go to jail, and the way that you get out of jail is the husband of the woman you're dating decides how much money you have to give him to drop the charges. You think I'm joking? I'm not joking. The police will literally come to your house and arrest you. And your house will now be in the hands of the woman and her family and or her husband if it was a scam. Ask them if they're married. Don't bring them home unless you know for sure they're not married. Just some really good dating advice there. Tom and Ruth, also Philippines bloggers, just did a video on that recently within the last 2 weeks. But I knew these rules long before I came to the Philippines. And what I will tell you is that the majority of women that I met, I would ask if they were married, and the majority said the truth. Some, I'm sure, did not. But like I said, I met them for breakfast or lunch. I didn't take them home if I didn't know they weren't, for sure, they weren't married. Don't do it. It's a big mistake. Okay, so another thing that you should understand when giving money to the family is if you decide to give money to the family, it is for life on the same day of each month. So if it's on the 30th of each month, be prepared to go and send the money on the 30th of each month. The next day, if you owe a Filipino money, they will be at your door late afternoon of the day you owe them the money, say for rent, or the following morning they'll be at your door at 6:30 in the morning looking for the rent money. So if you think that it's like America where people let you slide for a couple of days or a week, it's not like America. The morning that you owe the Filipina or Filipino money for rent or for whatever reason, they expect that money paid back that morning. Now, if you don't pay it in the morning because you went out for the day or something like that, the next day when you wake up, you'll wake up to a knock on your door asking you for their money. And it is their money. You owe them the money, and they're expected to pay it. And that goes for a business, owner of a business, or rent, or in fact, the family of the Filipino. One time, Daisy and I both just forgot to send the money. And on the night of the first or the morning of the second, Daisy got a phone call saying what happened. And I said,
say what happened.
What? No.
She will use to buy medicine.
Okay. So the family needed money to buy medicine, and they just asked when we would be able to send it. I did not hear what the words were, and I didn't discuss this previously with Daisy. So your family needed money for medicine?
Mm.
Just talk.
Yeah, it's right.
Okay. So so it probably wouldn't have been so imperative with Daisy's family, except that they had an emergency. And, huh?
Of course, we don't care much.
Of course, yeah. Her mother and father are not demanding at all. But other people, I've heard that it can get a little hairy if you don't have the money. The girl, well, it'll never happen with us, but the girl might break up with you if you don't continue to pay the agreed amount. So what you should do is finalize an agreed amount in the beginning of your relationship and stipulate that it's just not going to change, or it may change one day several years down the line when other circumstances change. You make the agreement, and you can put it in writing. I didn't do that with Daisy, but if the girl doesn't have a good memory, then I would suggest you put it in writing, or talk about it on a video, so that it's clear that if you agree to pay X amount of pesos per month to the family, that on a certain date, that's what it will be for 1 or 2 or 3 years, or whatever the time frame that you decide to be. Okay, so the next topic is schooling. Schooling is different here. Until recently, the internet was not heard of. So a 30-year-old woman in the year 2019 probably doesn't have much experience with the internet, depending on the school. Now, Daisy is the exception to the rule. Daisy lived in a province, and you had computer classes, right?
Yeah. When I went to class, computer programming.
Extra classes?
College, 1 year.
1 year of college in computer programming. But the average province girl, they don't have computers at every table or every desk. So how many computers were for each classroom?
There's no classroom. It's only for all the students, something like 15 computers in one laboratory in the one room.
Okay, so 15 computers in the computer laboratory room. And how many students use those computers? 30, 40, 50?
30, 40, and then it's per group, not per each, students per group.
Okay, so basically a group of 30 students might use 15 computers, which means there is not a computer for every student here.
Yeah.
And that's the point that I'm trying to make. So their computer skills, in Daisy's case, she's damn near as good on the computer as I am. One thing she excels at is she can spell a lot better than I can. If I am constantly asking Daisy how to spell words like travesty or just oddball words, she knows how to spell almost every word. Why? I don't know why. She has an exceptional spelling capability, and now she can do it. Spell the word clue for them using the paper that I gave you.
Charlie, Lema, Umbrella, Echo.
Okay, so she knows the phonetic alphabet like you would use for airline terminology, or if you're a captain of a tugboat, when you're reading off numbers and letters and coordinates. She knows that. She has those down to a science, actually. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little story here and a synopsis of our life for the last 3 years. So far it's been 3 years since we met online, which was about 12 days ago. So that was our 3-year anniversary that we met online. We have misunderstandings and the such, but mostly due to extreme language barriers and cultural differences. So when I first met Daisy, you can speak to a Filipino in English, and they have some understanding of English, but not a full understanding of every word. And especially if you make long run-on sentences, it's confusing. I understand maximum 5 words in Visaya. So if Daisy says something like "Asaka Puralongao," I will understand that means "How are you, cousin?"
What?
Asaka.
Where are you going?
Oh, okay. See, I don't understand anything about Philippine. Okay, Asaka Puralongao. Where are you going, cousin? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but if it gets any more verbally extensive than that, I do not know anything. The most extensive word phrase I know.
Kamusta? Gawis. How are you?
Como está gal is how are you?
Yeah. That's it.
Cousin. It
No.
doesn't gal mean cousin?
Yeah, go, cousin. It's just like a joke also. If you say go, they will laugh. Go.
All right. So the most extensive word phrase I know is gihi gugma ko ikaw. That means, what does that mean?
I love you.
All of that, gihi gugma ko ikaw, for all those three words only?
Yeah.
That's all it means. Gihi gugma ko ikaw. How complicated does it have to be, really? So there are cultural differences, and that's the extreme language barrier is where you're going to get into trouble with misunderstandings, because that's just my experience. You can explain something to Filipinos, and I'm going to explain that in the context of construction in a moment. Now, one thing that Americans and most foreigners have, especially if they're retired in the Philippines, is they have an extensive background of various learning experiences, such as schooling, to experience different types of schooling, to experience different types of family jobs, where you have your Mother's Day where the mother brings the child into the office, or you have your aunt and uncle that can bring you to their job sites. If one of your uncles or aunts are a fireman or a police officer, I've gone to the firehouse many times, and another one was a police officer. We got brought into the precinct. My dad's cousin was Thomas Agresta. He was a state Supreme Court judge in New York, and I got to see his judge's chambers at an early age, and he took me down into what they call the tombs underneath the courthouse, where they keep the prisoners behind behind the bars. So I mean, that's something that we have that they don't have in the Philippines. Most Filipinos, they have a simple job, and the children know what the parents do, but that's the extent. You're not going to see the children going to their cousin who's bringing them into a police station, and a police station here may consist of nothing more than a room with a bathroom in it and 7 or 8 police officers, like in Alona Beach, just sitting around waiting for somebody to break a law with a traffic violation or no lights on a hobble, which is a motorcycle. So they don't have the full extent of various advantages. Even movies and rental movies and television is a very extremely less popular thing to have here. On my block, like I said, a light bulb in half the houses on the block was a big advantage. There are no refrigerators in 90% of the people in my community's house. And now with the internet, if there are 25 Filipinos on the block, I would say none of them have internet, of the non-business Filipinos. So the working class Filipinos don't have an extra $26 a month or 1,300 pesos a month. So they don't have the ability to see various lifestyles from different cultures. Also, when the children that do have some pesos to go online, all they do is play games. So there's no cultural understanding other than Game Boy. And I find it disgusting, but that's the way it is here. When school lets out, you'll walk into an internet cafe and you'll see 50 kids rush into a cafe with 20 machines. And of the 20, 19 or 20 are playing video games. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct.
And have Daisy and I agree that video games are just not something that we do. So their culture, even though they may have internet, they usurp all their data and money on games.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's true.
All right. So the next thing I'm going to discuss is, okay, so what I was trying to explain to you about the Filipino culture is that after 38 years experience of being a licensed contractor in America, having a general contractor's license where I installed mostly kitchens and bathrooms, and did small extensions, dog houses on a roof, which is to put a window in for ventilation, installing ventilation fans. But I did a lot of kitchens and bathrooms from the time I was 18, 19 onward, because I was pretty good at it by that point. I had already my airframe and power plant jet mechanics license, and I had done 70 plus kitchens and bathrooms with my uncle, and who was a master installer of tile, plumbing, and or kitchen cabinets. So I had the experience, and I did all my kitchens were custom kitchens. I didn't work from a used cabinet place, like some retail outlet. My kitchen cabinets came from Superior. Okay. My kitchen cabinets came from Superior Kitchens, located on Pennsylvania Avenue in Brooklyn. Long since closed down, but it was the second most expensive kitchen cabinet made in New York City. There was one that was more expensive, and then there was one for the elite. But Superior Kitchens, in $1974, when I graduated, Superior Kitchens per lineal foot, which included the counter base, the base counter, the base cabinet, the countertop with an 18-inch splash, and then the top cabinet. So per lineal foot, Superior Kitchens, the lowest cost cabinet was hovering around $300 per lineal foot. Most of the cabinets I installed were $500 per lineal foot. So I have experience in fine carpentry, plumbing, electric, tile work, cement work, installation of sheetrock, hardboard, roofing. So I have experience, and I had the license. And when I try to transfer that experience to a Filipino that's doing construction next door and teach them something as simple as pulling out a nail, a 30-inch nail, which is about as big as this much of the pen, a 30 penny or a 40 penny nail, and those nails are sent through soft coconut when the lumber gets to the job, and then when the wood dries, it's impossible to get them out. And they will work with a hammer. They will pry on that nail with a hammer for half an hour if necessary. They will just keep prying and tapping the nail this way and tapping the nail this way. Even I give them a 30-inch crowbar, they will not use the crowbar. They will only use the hammer. And I don't understand why, other than the fact the only logical explanation is that they will use the hammer while you're standing there. And then you give them the crowbar, and they will use the crowbar while you stand there and watch it happen. And as soon as you walk away, they put the crowbar down and they go back to the hammer. Now, if you think I'm kidding, anybody in the Philippines that doesn't have a European or American trained crew, they will go back to the hammer. They won't use the crowbar. The only reasonable thing that I can understand is that it takes more time to use a hammer to take a nail out. The same thing trying to teach a Filipino how to mix concrete. Okay, give them a square shovel, put them on a piece of plywood. They'll make one mix because you're standing there, and the next mix that they make, they won't move the plywood to the next location. They'll take a spade shovel, which is 99% of all concrete in the Philippines is mixed with a round shovel. They'll take that spade shovel, which is a round shovel. They'll walk the cement and the sand over to a place on grass, on 4-inch grass or 5-inch grass. They'll take it over to that area, dump the sand, mix in the cement, and mix the cement with the spade shovel on the grass instead of moving the plywood and utilizing the square shovel. They just won't do it. You have to understand something about the Philippines. They have a way that they've done it throughout all of time, and that's the way it's done here. So I expected to be able to teach people extensive carpentry and construction skills. No, nope, just not going to happen. Okay, so I was wrong about that. Another thing that they will not do, even at no time will you ever see a workbench, and I'm talking about like a 4 foot by 16 foot workbench with a power miter on it, and your drills and your hammers and crowbars and stuff on the bench. At no time will you see that here on small construction sites, one house or two houses. Everything is just thrown on the floor, including power tools. So if they're working on a sandy surface, the power tool just gets thrown on the floor. If you give them a piece of cardboard to put the power tool on, it will go on the cardboard as long as you're standing there. They'll move to another location, set up a different job, and the power tool will just get dropped in the dirt. Not to destroy the tool, but just because they don't understand that it will destroy the tool. Or maybe they do understand that it'll destroy the tool, and they didn't pay for the tool, and if they don't have the tool, then it'll take longer to do the job. The mentality is not understandable from a foreigner's point of view. And I'm telling you, you can build them a workbench to put the power miter on, which they won't use a power miter. Very, very, very few Filipinos will use power tools at all. I'll get to that in a minute. So you'll put a power miter, the crowbar, show them how to put the drill and the drill bits and the nail guns. Well, they won't use a nail gun either, but screw guns and stuff like that. You put it on the bench, and what'll happen is they'll take that stuff off, put it down on the ground where they're working, and they'll use the bench for their clothing and their lunch. And that's it. They won't use the bench to use the tools. They're not going to use the power miter. I've yet 3 years, I watched them build a house across the way from me. There was no power miter on the job at all. There was no tile cutter, wet saw on the job at all. Everything was done by hand. Scratch the tile, tap the scratch, snap the tile. Cut 45-degree moldings by hand. Cut 2x4s, hardened wood with a dull handsaw. That's the way it's done in the Philippines. So as far as their ability to learn, even though your way is better and easier, before you come to the Philippines, you need to understand that their way is their way. And don't try to change it forcibly, because then you'll just make enemies. So you show them, they don't use it. You ask them why they're not using it. And what you're going to get is nothing. They're not going to answer you. They're not going to say anything sarcastic. They're not going to say a word. They're going to look at you, and then they're going to pick up the handsaw and go back to cutting wood by hand. They are not going to argue with you. That's one thing that they don't do, is argue. They'll just get that look. Are you done talking? Look. When you're done talking, I'm going to pick up the handsaw again, and I'm going to go back to work. Are you done? But they don't say a word. And you stop talking, and they pick the handsaw up and go back to work. That's the way it is here in the Philippines. Get used to it. And lastly, they are a family unit. Most often in the province, the entire family lives in a small house. Maybe the mother and father live in a divided section of the house with a small and just the minimum wall quality or a curtain. And that's just the way it is in the province. Now, in the city, of course, life is different, but that's what I have discovered to be the case. Daisy's family has separate rooms, but she also had 7 brothers and sisters. So how many, on average, what?
7 sisters, 1 brother.
7 sisters and 1 brother. Okay, so the rooms were shared, and I shared a room with my brother, and we got along just fine. So that's my experience here in the Philippines. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the site, and let's see. So I wanted to try to tell people that to keep it clean today, and I'm sure that you did. But if this is 57 people, thank you for stopping by. So those, I want to keep this as clean as possible. I'm going to read every comment. I'm going to delete every comment that I don't like. I'm going to keep it strictly on my experience in the Philippines and or your experience in the Philippines. I'm going to answer every intelligent question. You need to understand, I am going to answer every intelligent question. I will not experience trolls today. I will not get involved with arguments with people from other people's channels. Today is strictly about living in the Philippines and or questions that you have regarding the Philippines. What did you make for breakfast, honey?
Sausage, hot dog, and chicken, and dried fish I ate. You want some?
In a minute, you can.
What do you want?
Well, not just yet. Let me get into the comments, okay? First, okay. So, all right. So I see a lot of my super chat providers are here. Warren, check it out now. It's important. Okay. So give me a moment. I wish you could have sent me a synopsis of what the email is about, but let me see how it downloaded. If I can read it in the downloads. I don't know where it stored it. All right. What was the name of the download? That would be helpful. Okay. I don't know where it stored that download. I'm going to go to another file. Survey, boat tickets, Kindle. What was the name of the file, Warren? And then when you give me that, or maybe you can send me an email. I don't want to get distracted from my live stream for any length of time. And I understand, I probably understand where it's going, but that might not be part of today's dissertation. I couldn't open up the sound. It wanted me to install something to open up that sound. Okay. So Steve says he hears me. Okay, sorry to be you're not being pushy. I know darn well you're trying to help me, but it's not today's topic, I'm sure. So way too much time on their hands. Okay, so how are you? We are doing well. Oh, Scott, you're asking Scott. Okay. Crazy Cano. Michael, we lived there for 4 years and I'm much older than my wife. No one has ever said anything about our age. See, now this is a legitimate and vital comment for you to listen to. Okay. So he was here for 4 years and he has never had a derogatory statement towards him. Never, ever. I've been here for 5 years and have, even when I dated a woman that I didn't know, let's say it was our first date and she was much younger. Well, and I'm talking about breakfast and lunch. At the hotels, I always stayed at a hotel that had good food, okay? So I always knew I was going to get a good meal. And I would invite them for breakfast, which does two things. It lets you know if they're reliable to show up on time, because if they didn't show up on time, I just disappeared. I would wait until 8 o'clock or 7:30, whatever time the agreed time was. And if they didn't show up, I'd go back to my room and have breakfast later. I'm not going to deal with lateness. I went to Aviation High School for 4 years, had 3 years, 100% attendance, missed 1 year because I was in the hospital, missed 1 week, 7 days because I was in the hospital. And I was late. The most I was late in any 4 years was 7 times in 1 year, all due to weather. So I won't put up with people's tardiness. Okay, so Donnie Nerdson, I apologize. I gave my wife 5,000 pesos every 2 weeks, and she did amazing things with it. I would imagine so. That's quite a bit of money for a Filipina family. Scott Del Fuego. Okay, so these Scott and Warren, good welcome, Scott, are talking amongst each other. Gummy Bear sister, I've seen you. I know your name. Thank you for stopping by. Princess Ann Newt says hello. John Boone says hello, and everybody's saying hello. Okay, so I'm moving down to comments now. So if hopefully I'll be able to get down to the bottom, and then if you have questions, I'll answer your questions individually as I see them necessary. Scott Del Fuego says Daisy is very smart and has maximized her education opportunity. That is why she is bilingual, computer literate, and able to learn construction techniques. I should mention for my viewers, a few days ago, I did mention it in a previous live stream, but I'm pretty proud of Daisy for doing this. I heard banging in the backyard 3 days ago, perhaps. And there's not supposed to be anybody working in the backyard that day or next door or anywhere. And I went outside and looked, and I saw Daisy holding up a piece of 4 foot by 7 foot, 6.5 foot plywood. She had her hand on the top of the plywood, down on a 45-degree angle, and she had a hammer and nails in her other hand. What had happened, we had 50 kilometer per hour gusts for 4 steady days. It never went to less than 30 mile per hour gusts, and it never stopped raining. So I didn't even know that the board had blown down. The only thing that held the fence up was a tree I tied it to. The wind got serious here. We're only a few feet away from the ocean, and when I say a few feet, I could throw a rock to the damn near. On a good day, I could throw a rock to the ocean and hit the ocean with it. A good throwing rock, one of those egg rocks. So then, so the wind was seriously blowing here. So Daisy was out there putting the board up. I didn't know she was going to do that. I didn't know what she was doing. I didn't even know she was outside. I thought she was working out, and she was putting up a fence panel. Okay, so Daisy's a good woman all the way around. I got lucky with Daisy. She got lucky with me, and her family got lucky with me that I don't drink alcohol. In fact, I stopped. Haven't had an alcoholic beverage. How long has it been since we had rum, honey? Almost a month. We bought a case of rum every 6 or 7 months, but we used 4 ounces of rum to 4 ounces of water to brush our teeth with as a mouthwash. And we also used rum once we got a mosquito bite to rub on the mosquito bite. And then if we went outside and there were mosquitoes, we'd rub the rub on us. And that's giving 3 bottles of that case away to one particular neighbor that I enjoy his company. And I don't get involved with the drinking process with the neighbors. Even though I give them the rum, I take my shot glass with me. I have a shot glass that I designated for our shot that we have before sleep. I take my shot glass with me. We open the rum. They give me 1 shot. I say cheers, and I walk away. That's it. That's the extent I drink with the neighbors, 99% of the time. Twice a year on Fiesta or Christmas, I have several drinks with them after I eat. So, but now it's been a month, and what we used the rum for basically was 1 shot before we went to sleep. If that didn't work, we'd wake up and have another half a shot or a shot. In my case, Daisy would have another half a shot. She'd have 2 half shots, and I'd have 2 shots. So she's really getting good at construction techniques and looked like she did a good job. So Daisy's a good woman all the way around. Now, Warren says Daisy has a good memory and is very smart. Thank you, Warren. Okay, so Blue Rose, what happened to kids playing outside? Okay, so kids playing outside. Now, that just is like such an everyday occurrence. Now, I cannot see any children outside right now, but it's a school day. But early in the morning, the children go to the beach and take a libre ligo, which means a free bath. And in the afternoon, the children will be seen. They make the big craze here now is making a helicopter type thing out of one leaf of a palm tree. Since I gave out 90 balls, 90 of these blue balls to the children Christmas Eve, since I gave these balls out to the children, I have, okay, one day, the day after Christmas, maybe 2 days later, one day I saw one child bouncing a ball. The other 90 balls disappeared into the ball box in their house. This is like a prized possession for the Filipino children. They don't bring it outside to play. It goes into a special place. Same thing with beach balls, same thing with volleyballs, same thing with toys. Any toys you give them, they might play with it outside for an hour, but then after that, you don't see it again because that's the way it is here. But children playing on the beach, if you go to the beach at high tide on the weekend, you can, even today in February 1st or 2nd, whatever it is, February 1st, even today, you'll see 15, 20 children playing on the beach and swimming, and not supervised by adults, by the way. They take care of themselves, and they don't sink any boats. They'll play on people's boats. They don't bother the motors. They don't steal the gas cans. You'll see children playing in groups of 2 to 5 to 10, and they're playing with nothing more than an old flip-flop that somebody found, and they play tag with it. They throw the flip-flop. Thank you, honey. They throw the flip-flop. So that's, okay, that's the extent that children play all the time unsupervised. Philly in the Philippines is here. Welcome. Good morning. Daisy just walked outside. Oh. Daisy is using the water pick. Okay, so welcome, Philly in the Philippines. To answer Blue Rose's question, that's the answer about the children. Wow, Scott's a curator on Kindle. That's interesting, Scott. A curator of books on Kindle. Very nice. Okay, so anybody else have any questions? Mihal Bravo, Michael, whose name is Mike from the Netherlands. We are doing well. Thank you. Keep on being awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much for stopping by. Blue Rose, true words, priceless. Okay, so we're down to the end of the comments, and this is my breakfast. I got up late today. I didn't even get up until I got up at 8 o'clock. Okay, that's beyond. We did go out last night. We'll give you an idea of what we did last night. I took my friend, who is a very famous man. If I mentioned his name, I assure you that any American over the age of 45 would know exactly who he was. I might have been one of the few people that didn't. He's in the category of like well-known personalities. At the time when he was well-known, I would say that he was as well-known as Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's the closest I could tell you who he is. Now, the last 2 or 3 times that we've had dinner, Daisy and I have had dinner at his house with his wife, or his Filipina Akong Babae, his girlfriend. So yesterday, actually, I was thinking about him in the morning, that I haven't talked to him in probably 6 months. And an hour later, he showed up. And I said, let me take you out to dinner. So let me tell you what happened last night. I'm going to give you another true Philippine story. I won't tell you the whole story. I may make a separate addendum to this story and put it on Patreon only, but I will tell you a story that's true. So I admire this man for his accomplishments in life. What, honey? Okay, so I don't know, and I don't care. Are you done? Okay. So I admire him for his. I'm telling you, he's one of the most famous men of the 70s, 60s, and 70s. Okay. He holds records and titles for things that go beyond the imagination. So we always go to his house for dinner or lunch or occasions, and he puts out a fantastic spread. Let me tell you. I mean, his wife and the two maids or the two sisters that are helpers put out an amazing spread. Those videos, let's just say they don't exist. He never wants me to mention his name or put his name in a description box or anything like that. He never wants to be on video, and that might be the way it stays. Well, no, that will be the way he stays. Because I made an agreement with him, and I keep my agreements. And maybe some of you are wondering why I didn't go to the city today. It's because I woke up late. We were out late, and also the weather here was terrible this morning, so I wasn't going to go out in the rain. If my foot gets wet with the bandaging on it, the wound will never heal, and it's healing quite nicely so far. Okay, so Warren sent me the email. So what we did was we went out to dinner, and I took him to my favorite pizzeria because I said, what would you like to have? And he said, when I asked him what would you like for dinner, he's a true gentleman. The man is a gentleman and a scholar, I have to tell you. And he said, if you're inviting us out for dinner, it's your choice. So I said, do you like pizza? And he said, we love pizza, Hawaiian pizza. I said, I'm going to bring you to a restaurant I think is the best pizza in Alona Beach. Well, we got there, and we sat down, and we ordered the pizza. And my pizza was the Suprema pizza with onions, sausages, although the sausages were cut thinner than a matchbook. That's how thin the sausages were. They were still good sausages, but you'd have to take them separate to taste them. Peppers, onions, sausage, what? Bacon. Okay, bacon. And so I get my pie, and they ordered a Hawaiian pie. So I dig into my pie. I'm enjoying the hell out of my pie, by the way. That's my regular pizza place, which is no longer my regular pizza place, and we'll get into that in a moment. So they get their pie, and his akong babae, or girlfriend, takes a bite, not so enthusiastic about this at all, and he takes one bite, and he goes, this is not enjoyable. He didn't say it's garbage like I would have said. He goes, this is not good pizza, Mike. And he smiled at me. I had already eaten about 3/4 of my slice. And I said, do you know of a better place? And he said, yes. So my next response was, well, why didn't you suggest it? He goes, you offered to take us out to dinner. It's your choice where to go. Total gentleman the whole way across. So within 10 seconds, I said, waitress, please come. Give me the bill. I didn't even have a slice finished. He had one mouthful of one slice. His girlfriend had 2 or 3 mouthfuls. Give us the bill and bring us a couple of boxes for this pie. We're going to leave. So they brought over the bill. I paid the bill. I said, where is it? The next place. And he took us to Giuseppe's. It's less than a half a mile from the main hub in Alona Beach. Going towards Tagbilaran, less than a half a mile away, on the left-hand side, there's a huge building, but it's beige. I don't know why they painted it some off-key color, but it's a beige building. Okay, so, and it's got all glass windows. It's air conditioned if it needed to be air conditioned, but it did not last night. It has outside dining, inside dining. It's a fine dining experience in Bohol. When I looked at the prices were comparable or less. So I ordered the same pie. But it's called something different. It's called the Carmelo. I ordered the Carmelo, and he ordered the Carmelo. Has the sausage, the onions, the peppers, bell peppers, and something else. Daisy said, what else did you say? Sausage, peppers, onions, and bacon. Okay, so I ordered the Carmelo, and they ordered the Hawaiian pie. Well, to my surprise, and you already know I spoke about this in a previous video, which no longer exists. The pie was a solid 15 inches wide, as opposed to the other pizza place where the pie was supposed to be 13-inch pie, and it would come at 12 and a half. This pie was a solid 14 3/4 to 15-inch pie. But the difference in the thickness of the pie crust, the flat part of the pie itself, and the ingredients, the pie in Giuseppe's was 75% more by weight and size. So the ingredients on the previous pizza was probably less than 3/8 of an inch. After it settled, a 1/4 inch. The ingredients that came at Giuseppe's were a solid 1/2 inch for this much of the center, and then it was a little bit less towards the end. Okay, so we're talking about 75% more pie and 75% more ingredients at the same price. So I have a video of that. The gentleman and his wife are not in the video. The table is set up for 4, and you can see that there were people there, but as I said, I invited him to leave early so we could make a video for Giuseppe's, and now they're expecting that video to come out tomorrow. So it'll probably come out on Saturday night, not a Friday night. That's the day I do my it's just the day I choose to release the video. So we have found a new restaurant in the Philippines that blows the other one away. I'm not going to say anything bad. I took the other videos down for more than one reason. I may make an addendum and put that on my Patreon account, but I won't mention it here. Okay, we're going to keep this. We're going to keep it just on the upscale today of doing what is proper. Okay, and the other restaurant was owned by an Italian also, but there was not a disagreement, but because the owner there was a disagreement in the past twice. Once on billing, I was billed incorrectly, and once on the size of a pie, because I'll go review the previous story. I'll just talk about the previous story. The pie boxes. Let me have a pie box, honey. No pie box. The pie box in this place, the first place that I was doing live streams about, it's a 13-inch box. Okay. Now I know sizes. I know inches. I know foot. I can judge how many feet something is up to 100 feet within 2 or 3 feet on pretty much. I'm damn good at it. Okay. It's all I did my whole life was construction. So I know this is a 13-inch box. This is 13-inch box. Okay, so the first restaurant that I was making videos about, when they put the pie on the table, they put it on a 13-inch platter, wooden platter. Okay, so that means that the pie is going to come and cover up the 13 inches of wood. No more, though. It's never bigger. A lot of times it's smaller. So we have a pie at this place. This is one discrepancy I had with this. This is the Philippines now. This isn't against any particular pizza place, but this is the way things work in the Philippines. So the pie comes out on a 13-inch platter, and it fills up the platter. Now I want to take a pie home. Let me have the box again. I want to take a pie home with me. So to-go pies, we always made to-go pies in Lenny Pizzeria. We always made to-go pies bigger than a table pie, because there's no work involved. There's no glasses, there's no forks, there's no knives, there's no spoons, there's no napkins. Nothing is involved. There's no condiments where people are dumping bottles of ketchup or using up all your garlic powder or all your Parmesan cheese. So the average pie that you got in this box, the few times we had takeout, was about this size. So give it a ½ inch smaller than the box. That was the first time we went there. And the second time was about the same size. But now we go there on a regular basis. I made 8 videos, so I've been there 8 times. Okay, so now we have a pie to go. I kid you not. I'm telling you the truth. And this is the problem. One of the problems with the Philippines, they will never admit they did anything wrong or anything is wrong. They will listen to your argument and they will give you that look. The look means whenever you're done talking, I will go away and they will not answer your question or your argument. Okay. So the next one of the times, the 5th time that we were there, I'm going to show you how big the pie was. You believe it, you don't believe it. I'm going to have to make marks here. Give me a plate, 9-inch plate, please, big plate. The next time is this size pie. Perfect. Okay, that's it. This is a 9.5-inch circle, the inner circle. The next pie is a 9.5-inch pie inside the box. Now I know damn well you can use your thumb, because the average thumb is about 1 inch or 1 1/8 in diameter. So you could just put your thumb across the box, but on the back of the box, typically, not this one, it usually says 13 on it, or 14 or 15, but this is a 13-inch box. So we get a pie the size of the inner circle when we expected a pie and are paying for a 13-inch pie. The size of the pie we got was this 9.5-inch pie plate. Okay, we didn't get a 13-inch pie that fills up the box, or we didn't get a 12.5-inch pie that almost fills up the box. We got a 9.5-inch pie at best. So I said to the girl in the restaurant, "What is this?" Because she handed it to me. Sorry, honey. She handed it to me with the box closed and wrapped. And I don't like it like that, because I want to put, they have a special spice at the restaurant that I want to put on it. This is the Philippines now. I'm not critiquing the restaurant. This is the way it is here. Get used to it when you get here. Nobody's ever going to apologize for anything that happens, bad service or bad food, and they're never going to offer you a free meal for anything you do whatsoever. Okay? That is another issue that we're going to get involved with in a minute. So they hand me this pie. The pie in the box, and I'm not lying to you, the pie in this box was exactly this big. This big. This big. This how big it was. That's the to-go pie. Don't shut that off, honey. That's how big the pie was. Now, are you going to pay for $9 for a pie this big? And it was skimpy dressing at best, skimpy stuff at best. So I said to the girl, what is it that you what is it that you're trying to pull here? What's with this pie? And I opened up the box. When I opened up the ribbon, there was no cheese in it like I had asked, and there was no hot pepper, which I asked for. It comes in a little cup. And that's why I opened up the box, because it was moving around the pie like it's not supposed to move around. It's supposed to be right up against the edges. So the girl says, I said, what's with this? She goes, it's a pie, sir. I said, no, but it's a pie, but it's not the same size as normal. Yes, sir, it's a pie. What do you mean, yes, sir, it's a pie? Look at the pie on that table over there. Look at the wooden placard that you bring the pie out on, the wooden, it's like a big round piece of wood with a handle on. Look at the size of that. It's supposed to be the same size as the box. It's the same size. That's what I expect here. No, sir, this is a pie. You ordered one pie. That kind of crap. I said, get the owner. And the owner was here. So she went over and talked to the owner, and he came over and said, what's the problem? And I said, what's the problem is look at the size of this pie. And he said, yes. How can I help you? Not being sarcastic. He goes, I said, the pie is only 9.5 inches in diameter. He goes, well, the boxes we're using today are 14-inch boxes. I said, so what? It's a 9.5-inch pie. You sell 13-inch pies. That's what it says on the menu. I want a 13-inch pie. He goes, well, it just looks smaller. I said to him, I don't want to hear that. I'm not interested in hearing that. I would like to have, I tell you what, we'll just pay for the pie that we had at the table and we'll go. But he didn't want that to happen because already his videos had 2,000 plus views. And he didn't want me to go away mad. And he said, I'll make you another pie. Well, the new pie, it was still an inch smaller than it should have been. A solid 12 inches, maximum 11 3/4. Okay, so you would have think he would have went overboard and made a bigger pie, but they didn't. Should have went into the kitchen, told him to make this man. He's a steady customer. He has 2,000 views. People go ask me all the time on those videos, is it really that good? And I tell them, yes, go there. And okay, so now I get to the point where he brings out the pie and he walks over and says, is that okay? And I said, it's acceptable. That's it. It's acceptable. Thank you. Shook his hand and left. We go back 2 more times. This is the Philippines. It's acceptable. Now he's an Italian man. It's acceptable. It's not what I expected. And they charged me for the second pie. For the amount of people that go visit his restaurant and the 2,700 views that were on the videos up till that date, I think that if in America, the way we do it in America, you'd throw somebody a pie once in a while or ask them if they'd like a soda. Nothing here in the Philippines. You get nothing for free here. Nothing at all. They don't give Filipinos money on the jeepneys, like loose change. They don't give free food. We did get a free meal at Payag. First time in 5 years I've been in the Philippines. Somebody offered me a free meal, and they were Filipinos. But this man hands me this pie, 12-inch pie, expecting me to enjoy it. In America, I worked in pizzerias from the time I was 12 till the time I was 22 years old. Night jobs, weekend jobs, extra hour jobs, extra money jobs. Okay? We made to-go pies that filled up the box and around on the sides. Okay, so we go back. We tried that again, and last night, and the fella that and his wife a girlfriend that I was out with, is a Kong Babae, takes one bite and says, I don't like this. And he goes, this is not what I expected. I said to him, waitress, give us the check. There wasn't even a 3-second interlude. Waitress, give us the check. We're going someplace else. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And I said, because he had already told me, I said, do you have another place? He said, yeah. I says, okay, we're going there. Waitress, give us the check. Brings the check, puts the stuff in the box. We go to Giuseppe's, and that's what's going to be in the description box, how to get to Giuseppe's from Alona Beach. Another issue that occurred there last night, I won't talk about it, but the second discrepancy was in billing. One night, we ordered a pie for the table and we ordered a pie to take home. And they billed us for one pie. So I said, wow, that was really nice. The owner's going to give us a free pie. Considering that we've been to the restaurant 8 or 10 times, we've brought other people with us on several occasions, and there's 2,700 views, and some of them are saying, well, we're going to go to that restaurant and check it out. So maybe if one person says they're going to check out the restaurant, maybe they're going to bring their girlfriend or their husband, and maybe they're going to bring 6 people. Okay, so I don't know how many meals were sold. I would gather more than 200 meals were sold from people that go to Alona Beach and Google Alona Beach Pizza. Those videos are gone. So they bill us for one pie, paid the bill, and they come back a few minutes later, sir, with another bill. You didn't pay for the second pie. I said, well, I thought you were going to give us that pie for free. No, sir. I said, for all the people I have brought here and all the videos I have made, you're not going to give us a free pie? No, sir. I said, okay. That was the time before last night. Last night was the last time. And I'll make an addendum for my Patreon members, or I'll just put out a story that happened last night, which was pretty disgusting, but I'll leave it at that. I'm going to read the comments. Okay, so Steve McClellan, I sent you a message on Patreon. I'm hoping you have time to read it. I'm not too busy and answer the question for me. I'll go read it right now. Michael, I'm wanting to send a little money to a woman in the Philippines. Of course, I think Western Union, but she asked, could I send it Cebuana? How do you say that word?
Cebuana Lowelier.
Well, yeah, and I'm not sure what that is exactly. Can you tell me what that is? So, Daisy, you will tell Steve. First of all, it's 100% qualified. It's a real company, Steve. If you're still there, it's 100%. They have them on almost every block in every part of the city. So it's 100% effective and working company. Yeah? Where you send the money.
Yeah, I know he's in America now.
But I don't know that you can, I don't know that they have that in America, Steve.
Western is everywhere in the Philippines.
But what about the other place?
I don't know if they have Cebuana in his place. It depends where he lives. It has Cebuana Lowelier. You can send in Cebuana, but if it's much closer in Western, you can send in Western, because everywhere in the Philippines it has Western Union.
Okay, so the answer to your question is both of those places are legitimate sending offices. You'd have to Google that in your town or country and find out where the closest place would be. I don't know that they have those places in America. You got to remember, I'm out of America for 5+ years now. So I hope that answers your question. You could let me know in the comments section if it did. If it didn't, I'll say, if you're not here any longer, I'll send you a note. So Blue Rose, Princess Anne, never base age is just a number. Yeah, that's a big expression here in the Philippines. Age is just a number. So, all right. So Warren, the email as Asher has been sent. Read this morning's video. So I'm going to go to see Warren's comment. And Warren's, okay. Okay. All right. So I see that information. Okay, I'm reading this, what you sent me, Warren, thank you. The video and was an open scope special Christmas. Really? Wow, I didn't know that. That's amazing. All right, well, all right, Warren, I'm going to reply to you right now. These people on YouTube are a trip.
No, yeah.
All right, hold on. I didn't know that actually happened, Warren. I thought the camera did not go that far down, but apparently it was my mistake. So if it did happen, I'll just remove that video. So thanks for the information. Yeah, that man is. He goes beyond, not so much as humble. His entire clientele and friends, they are every single person I could mention who he's going to go do a tour with. Every place I could mention. If I mention the people that he's going to visit, the houses of the people personally that he's going to visit, there is nobody pretty much in the world that doesn't know who he's going to visit on his next tour. So he's not only a gentleman, he's really very, very educated and very well liked in the community. Everybody knows him. In fact, when we first started, I helped him out with a project near his house. When we first met, when people saw us in public, they found that rather odd because he doesn't stay with locals. Very rarely will you ever see him stay with locals that are not part of his enterprise. Let's call it enterprise. So, yeah, he's a really nice guy. But we had a great dinner at the second restaurant. Thank you, Blue Rose. Hello, Sasha. I'm trying to get down to the bottom of the comments. Sasha's a man that has a car ferrying process that he ferries cars from transport cars from Florida to Maine and back and forth, and a boat's up to 38 feet. If you need something transferred, just let Sasha know up and down the East Coast. Thank you. Okay, so Scotty, not too bad. Okay, you guys are having a private conversation. That's nice. What bike is it? Sasha bought a new bike. A Kawasaki 2019 Kawasaki ZX10R. Wow, I don't know what that is. But it's probably like the fastest Kawasaki that was ever built in the whole world. And then Sasha made it go faster. Okay, yeah, that Scott says, are you planning time travel by exceeding the speed of light? Basically, it's for power. That's a lot of horse shit. You and I know it, Sasha. That's so that you could get from 0 to 60 or 0 to 90 in the case of those rice burners, 0 to 90 faster than anybody else. So, Okay, so let's see if we can find out where I was. Okay, so I was up to here. Okay. Okay, so I saw a question. I don't know where it went. Robert Calderon. Oh, I saw a question way on top. Is it better to live in the Philippines? Considering all the things that are going on in America and the taxes and the price of things in America and how it's going up, it's much better, in my opinion. It's completely different, though. Don't expect to go to the store and buy a jar of Hellman's mayonnaise, and don't expect you can become friendly with the neighbors, but don't do it. Better off not doing it. You remain on a friendly basis, hello and goodbye. But Daisy, tell people this. Now that's an off-topic question, but Daisy has the answer for that. I'm going to let Daisy. I want you to answer the question. If once you become friendly with the neighbors, right? Okay, like we walk down the block and we say hello to everybody, but once you become friendly with the neighbors, what happens next about what they start asking you for?
They will start asking for a pasalubong, like a gift, if where I'm going, or something like they want soft drinks
Or beer,
like that.
or tandawai.
Yeah.
So if you just stop and say hello, if you say hello whilst walking, that's the best. Because if you stop and they say, Michael, yesterday somebody dragged a little 16-inch bicycle out into the street with a pair of V-bars on the bicycle. I don't know that I have that on video or not. Of course, it would only be on my Patreon. But he drags this bicycle out into the street when I told him that Daisy and I were going to Alona Beach. And he says, Michael, use my bicycle. So had I used his bicycle, he would have asked me for something. 100% sure, yeah?
He's just kidding.
What?
He's just kidding.
Oh, he was only kidding?
Yeah.
Okay, but if you stop and talk to them, the majority of the times, will they ask you for something for free?
Sometimes.
Sometimes
they just want to know because they just want to know.
Okay, so that's what you can expect. Okay, sometimes they're going to ask you for some pasalubong, but if you're walking down the block and you have 5 or 6 grocery bags, say you have a bag of bread and you have a bag of rice in one hand, and you have a canister of cookies, like a big tin that I used to buy, but I don't buy them anymore, a tin of cookies, and maybe another bag with just bread that you're going to freeze, or rolls, what we call little sugar rolls and sweet rolls and stuff like that. If you're walking down the block with that, they're going to ask you for the bag of rolls or the bag of bread, and they will say, Michael, give me one bag, and you say, I cannot, and they will say, you have mahal bags, so you have many bags, which means that it's okay for you to give them a bag of goods, a whole entire bag. Now it could be 2 kilos of rice or 3 kilos of rice, which is 150 pesos for good rice that we buy. And we need rice at the house, but they will take the rice from you if you give it to them. You don't have to give it to them. They're not going to steal it from you, but they're going to ask you for it. But if you have like something, I used to buy Italian bread. You have like 10 loaves of Italian bread, and I put it in the freezer. Because I liked it. At one point, one place made good Italian bread. Now it's garbage, but new owners, garbage product. But they would ask you for 2 loaves of bread on the way home in the jeepney. Every single Filipino from the province would say, give me one. Please give me 1 loaf. You have mahal. No, I bought this daghan. Mahal is money, right? You have mahal money.
Expensive.
What?
Mahal is expensive.
Oh, okay. I got that one wrong too. Okay, so
Kwarta is money.
quota is money. So, but they say you have mahal. Okay, so
Daghan.
that, well, they say it to me mahal. You want to argue with what they say to me? Huh? Is that what you want to do now? Huh? Okay, so they say mahal to me because I guess they think that's a normal word. So, or a word I will understand. So daghan means much, many, and mahal means expensive. Okay, they use that word in different ways. But that's what you can expect when you move to the Philippines. So in America, nobody's going to ask you for a bag of groceries while you're putting them in the car, walking down the block with it. They understand those are your groceries. The tin of crackers I had last year, give me one cracker. But there was 18 men at the top end of the street, and each one wanted one cracker. It's not, and I'm not going to have 18 people put their hand in my box of crackers. Okay, but they will. If you opened up that box, they'd all grab a handful and say thank you. But that was the man who I asked for a free piece of pork 4 years ago on Christmas, after I gave all of those 18 people a piece of candy or 2 pieces of candy or 3 pieces of candy each week. And when I asked for one piece of pork for 30 pesos, they said, no, we cannot give everybody libre free pork. I never gave again. Never gave anything to anybody on the block again unless I chose to. But it wasn't mandatory when I walked down the block, which previously it was considered a given that I was going to give people something when I walked down the block. Maybe not everybody, but somebody was going to get lucky that day. So living in the Philippines is very nice, but you have to understand there are rules, and you can't be nasty about it. You can't tell them to go screw off. You just have to let them know that you have a priority, and this is the priority that works every time. Your priority is to give pasalubong, which means free stuff. Your priority is to give only your girlfriend or your wife's family pasalubong. That they understand. So, but if they know you're single, then that doesn't work. And rest assured, if you live on a block, 10 minutes after you arrive, everybody knows what apartment you're in and whether or not you're single. If you're single, this is another thing in the Philippines, everybody has a female cousin. Everybody. A female cousin or a female sister or somebody they work with that needs an American boyfriend. So it's easy enough to find a Filipina. It's hard to find a good one. And they might offer their sister to a foreigner because they want a better life for their sister. They're not a prostitution thing. And they might offer their sisters to somebody so that the foreigner can give them some food for 1 or 2 days or weeks that they're here, and they buy them a gift for the Filipina. That's normal. If you go out with a Filipina on a date, to spend an extra $5 or $10 to give them something to take home, a roasted chicken, much appreciated, couple of loaves of bread, 10 or 15 pieces of pan, or all together, much appreciated. And it doesn't mean you're going to have sex with them. It just means that you enjoyed the company of a Filipina and you gave them something. Not required, but you'll pay for their expenses and give them something. But when you move onto a block, you are now a member of the community. Everybody knows your business. So if you expect to come here as a sexpat and you keep bringing strange women home from Alona Beach, they'll know that. They won't like it. They'll probably have a tendency not to say hello to you. Probably that's more true than not. And if you ever needed anything, they're not going to be there for you. But then they're not going to be there for you anyway if you need something. Typically, you're on your own because you have a lot of money. When the pipe broke New Year's morning, when the pipe broke, nobody mentioned that my pipe was broke. Nobody cared. I have a lot of money. What difference does it make if the water bill is 5,000 pesos or not? They saw the water streaming up, but they didn't know it was my pipe. The other neighbor, who knows everybody since birth on the block, could have been either one of our pipes. So here you have a Filipina family that's been living here for 140 years. Their background goes back. It could have been their pipe. It could have been my pipe, but nobody notified them that a pipe was broken. Otherwise, they would have come and told me. So they don't care about even their own people. If it's going to take 10 seconds out of their life to go out of their way to tell somebody their pipe is broke, they're not going to do it. So if you give, understand you're giving with absolutely no, you can have absolutely no expectations for anything back in return. Anything back in return, probably not going to happen. You rent an apartment from somebody, they'll average out. This happened to me for 3 years before I realized it was going on, 2.5 years. The price of electric was 8.5 cents per kilowatt hour, sometimes 9.1 cents per kilowatt hour. And in the beginning, it was 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So I just thought it was a steady price. So for 2.5 years, I paid 10 cents per kilowatt hour, and it varied down, up or down, as far as like 8.5 cents per kilowatt hour to maybe it went over 10 pesos per kilowatt hour, excuse me. So, but the landlord never told me. She never adjusted it for my needs. And when I found out, I said, well, I've been paying 10 pesos per kilowatt hour, and this is only 9 pesos per kilowatt hour. But I use 70 kilowatt hours per month. So you're talking about 70 pesos a month for 12 months. What is that? That's 840 pesos times 3 years. It's 2,500 pesos she made on electric bills. She's not supposed to make money on electric bills. That's not, she makes some money on the rent. You're supposed to charge only for the exact amount of electric. Would she give me a discount on the month that I was paying? No. She said, that's the past. Expect to hear that's the past a lot. There's no compensation for anything you do above and beyond your lifestyle. You're required to pay your bills. You're required to keep a low key if you're going to bring women home. Otherwise, the neighbors are not going to like you. They won't do anything bad to you. They're not going to be malicious towards you when you walk down the block. They just won't say hello. And God forbid you ever did need something, that is never going to happen. And another thing, when I first moved here, there was an elderly woman, the same woman, who knew everybody, and asked me if she wanted me to get her a girl. And I said no. And she said, why? I said, because I'll find my own girl. And from that day forward, we were friends. Because what she meant was find her. Did she want me to find her? She wasn't going to find me a pock girl or a prostitute. She asked me if I wanted one, and she could help me with that. She spoke English. And I said, no, I don't do that. From that day forward, we were friends. Had I made a mistake or been that type of person, I wouldn't be here. I would be someplace else. Everybody on the block would not like you. Okay, so, honey, may I have cold water? Let me go back to reading this, so I'll give you a profile over here. Thank you. Warren, love your new videos. Okay, love your new videos. Said from Jack Thompson. And Dennis Adams also made a really cool video. Oh, there he is right there, next page. Dennis Adams made a cool video this morning of how to transfer using a laser printer on paper and a certain type of glue, how to transfer a laser printer picture or words to a piece of wood. Dennis, if you'd like to share that link, please share the link on my page here, Dennis. You're welcome to do that. Okay. All right. So, Dennis, here the pizzas are larger than the boxes. Okay. That's normal. when you have a takeout, you don't have forks or knives. When you go to a pizzeria and you eat at a table, here's what has to happen. Okay. Number one, you sit at a table. There are table placemats that may be involved, probably. There are napkins. That's two things that they have to pay for, because the placemats they have to buy and then they have to pay to keep them clean. There's napkins, which people steal quite often. There's a fork and a knife. So we're up to 4 things. There's salt and pepper, 6 things. Garlic salt and some other spice, 8 things. Glasses for water, 9 things, plus the cost of the water, 10 things. There are 10 more things minimum that go into the cost of sitting down for a table pie. So they make the pies. They should make the pies to what the regulation size pizza says on the menu. Now they'll say they started the pie at 13 inches and it shrunk down to 12. Well, that's a lot of horse shit. You're selling a 13-inch pie. It should be a 13-inch pie. I worked in pizzerias, like I said, for 8.5 or 9 years. We put pies out on the table. If it said 18 inches, which was a large pie, and 22 inches, which was an extra large pie, we put a 22-inch pie out on the table. When we put it in a box, we put a 22-inch box plus the pie we made a little bigger it would flap up on the sides of the box. That's normal. Why do you make it bigger or make it at least full size of the box? Because you don't have salt or pepper to pay for, plus people stealing the salt and pepper shakers. You don't have napkins and this theft of napkins involved in the cost. You don't have the cost of the garlic salt shaker, the shaker that the garlic comes in, or the garlic powder. You don't have the cost of putting water in their glasses, or you don't have the cost of cleaning a dish or cleaning a glass, which brings it up to 12 items. You don't have the cost of cleaning the placemats and cleaning the table. It's all labor intensive. You don't have those 10 costs, so you give the customer more product for the same price, because you're saving on 10 different individual items. That's why you fill up the box on a takeout order. That was disgusting what they did to me by giving me a 9.5-inch pie in in place of a 13-inch pie. I should have ended my career with that pizzeria on that day, but it was good pie until I found Giuseppe's. So I have a separate video coming out for Giuseppe's, and in the video of Giuseppe's, you're going to see the 2 pies that we ordered from the other pizzeria on the table. You're going to see those 2 pies with a ribbon on it, and then you're going to see the 2 pies that we ordered from Giuseppe's on the table, and I'm going to discuss. You're never going to see this. Who goes to a pizzeria, takes 1 bite or 1 slice out of a pie, and has somebody say they don't enjoy the pie, and then 10 seconds later the bill is on the way and we're going to another pizzeria. And then I put the pizza boxes on the table so that the owner of the pizzeria in the new place could ask me why it's there. And 2 people asked why, and I explained, look at the size of your pie, look at the size of this pie, look at the ingredients on your pie, look at the ingredients on this pie. I'll never go to that place again. And they laughed, because they already knew that, of course, but I didn't know it until last night. Okay, I'm done with that, honey. Okay, Steve got my message. Anything else I could help you out, Steve? I'm getting down to the bottom of the comments. The Blue Rosa says it's interesting to hear about talking about their mentality. Very insightful. For when I'm ready to visit one day, that tells me a lot and prepares me for a lot. The culture, you see, another thing that Blue Rose might be interested in is, okay, now I lived in Cebu from January 10th to March 16th. I walked the streets in the daytime, never had a problem. And I walked the streets at night if I was going out for a restaurant or something like that. And although it looks like there might be some seamy looking people, never had a problem. Never, not once. But I didn't go to places, red light districts. There's a red light district in Cebu. It's very well known. What, honey?
It's okay.
Okay. There's a very well known place in Cebu, but I did go to that area in the daytime to go see the old church there, Saint Church Stonino, I think the name of the church was.
Where?
In the Carbon district of Cebu, Stonino.
Santo Niño.
So what?
Santo Niño.
Santo Niño. Okay, that was why I went there, and actually, it wasn't what I expected. It was very old, and it was very well kept, and it was the floors that you walked on in the courtyard of the church were all marble, and a lot of the statues were carved marble. I never expected that in the Philippines. So the Church of Stonino, which is about 10 minutes from the Ayala Mall, located in the Carbon district, is a nice church, but you're gonna have to get used to it as a foreigner. 100 people an hour asking you to sell you something, asking you for money, rubbing their stomach and telling you they have no foods, which may be true, but one thing I tell my subscribers all the time, if you had 1 million US dollars and you chose the block that you live on to give the Filipinos on your block, let's say you just had money to burn, okay, and you chose to give the Filipinos on your block, let's just say you chose to give them 10,000 pesos or $200 a month. Okay, so let's say you gave 10 people 10,000 pesos each month on the same day. So you're giving 100,000 pesos per month out. And you did that for a year. So now you gave a million, 100,000, you gave 1.2 million pesos away, or about $24,000. Okay, you gave 24,000 pesos away in 1 year. Now, wait, the next month, they're going to be looking for you to get that money. They're going to expect it, number one. You don't have to give it to them. They're not going to rob you. Probably not going to happen. I wouldn't do something like that, but I'm telling you, where I live, they're not going to rob you, but they're going to expect it. And that's why I don't give anymore to any large degree. And if I do, it's on an individual basis. But one thing that you're going to find, that you wait 3 months from the last time that you gave them money, and you tell them that you're broke, you have no money, and you need 10,000 pesos from those 10 people. You're not going to get 1,000 pesos. They're not going to collect 1,000 pesos for you. They're not going to have it, and if they have it, they're not going to give it back. That's something you have to understand. When you give in the Philippines, you give. Don't expect anything in return. Don't expect anything back. And let's say you gave out that 1.2 million pesos to your neighbors, and let's say one day you need some work done for a couple of hours. Say it's digging up roots of a tree, and they work for 2 or 3 hours. You say, "Can you help me with this?" They'll say, "Sure." They'll come, they'll work hard, they'll work in the sun, they'll get dirty, they'll work hard, and you'll say, "Thank you." No. Thank you is not what they expected. They expected to get paid. Even though that was the person you handed the 10,000 pesos to each month, they expect money in return. So if you say to them, and then you have to give it to them, because the agreement wasn't made in advance. Same thing with cabs, motorcycles, and tricycles. Make the cost, the cost of the ride in advance. Don't get on a motorcycle, don't get in a tricycle, and don't get in a cab unless you hear it verbally what it is. Never get into any one of those three situations, because they'll bring you to the police and say you owe them money. If they agree, what? If they agree to that money, they'll take that much money. So if you gave all this money to all these people, and then you say, "Can you help me?" You have to give them money if you didn't make an agreement for them to do it for free to begin with. Now, if you say to them, "Will you do it for me for free?" They'll just tell you no. They're not going to help you. The guy I keep giving the rum to, he's given me back also things in return. Gave me a long piece of line, like 1/2-inch nylon line that he didn't need, polypropylene line that he didn't need, like a 60-foot length. He's a very generous man also. So when you give, don't expect anything back. So all those people that you helped, and you say, "Can you help me for a few minutes?" They're going to expect you to pay them. So if you say to them, "I don't want to pay you for this work," they'll say, "No, no, no." Probably going to say, "No, no, no." Probably.
Can you help me?
What?
Can you help me?
They will say, "Can you help me?" Or I will.
You will ask, and then if they say yeah, then they will say, "Give me money." Sometimes, and sometimes not. They'll offer you free, but very rare.
Okay, so Daisy just confirmed what I said. Very rarely. Okay, so we've been working here. We built the house. We worked on different pieces of equipment here for the owner of the equipment company. We worked on building fences. We dug holes. We did other stuff. Nobody ever one time, ever, not even one time ever asked if they could help for free. With all the money and the goods and gifts I gave out on the block, everybody came looking for a job, and my response would be, "You will work for me today for Libre?" And they will say, "Why should I do that?" I said, "Because of all the things I gave you or your family." They will say, "No, you have many monies." Many monies is another expression. You have many monies.
Pension.
What?
Many money and pension.
Oh yeah, many monies and pension. They believe everybody has an unlimited amount of money. Not only unlimited amount of money, but that pension is some ridiculously high figure. They all believe that Americans have $3,000 to $5,000 pensions. They don't understand some pensions are only $800 or $1,000. They have no understanding of that whatsoever. They took the biggest number they ever heard for a pension, and every foreigner has $3,000 or $5,000 pension. Everyone. There cannot be any other way. So I'm going to read some comments. So Sasha has a house here. Oh, okay, that's something else. Okay, so if anybody's here and they like what I'm talking about, and they would like to subscribe to my channel, I have 0 thumbs up. What's up with that? I see 0 thumbs up. So you know what? I do this. If you're really interested in coming to the Philippines, do as Blue Rose and Steve McClellan and many other people have done. Subscribe to my Patreon account, and I will call you up personally on the phone after I see that you're an active member. We did lose a member this week. I don't know why. He was a member for a short period of time, and I'm not sure why he disappeared from my Patreon account. I helped him find out where to buy some equipment he needed for the Philippines, and he helped me with some computer work. So it's not like it wasn't a mutual understanding. We talked with each other for extensively 5 hours. We spoke with each other over the course of a couple of days. He has a business that he runs on the internet, but I wasn't interested. He offered the services for free, but I wasn't interested in taking the time to learn a new business. So I lost one member in the last, I guess, 8 or 9 months. So we're standing steady at about, I think, 29 members. Just said it and I missed it. 29 members. I'll tell you how many members we have. So, and then I'm going to give you the link also. So let me go here. I'll go to my main 24 members. Okay, so we had, I guess we had 25. A lot of times somebody will decide that they're going to sign up for something and not finish it because they're not comfortable giving credit cards out. That's understandable. But if you really want information about the Philippines and you're serious about it, I suggest the best thing to do would be to join my Patreon membership at the $10 membership level or above. I'm really not that interested in talking to members unless they're like a $5 member, let's say, right? Now, Sasha's been a $5 member for several months. So if Sasha wanted me to call him up and personally spend a couple hours on the phone with them, naturally I would. And I help Sasha and he helps me. So that's mutual. So, but Sasha's a long-standing member of my Patreon account. I have $3 members of my Patreon account that I would be happy to call. Anthony from Completely Disinterested, I think, is a $3 member. And I've called Anthony several times. So it doesn't have a dollar value, but it has, I look at the amount of monies and how much time I'm going to spend, and I decide whether or not, if I have free time to talk to somebody on the phone. It always turns out to be an hour or an hour and a half. So if you want to talk to me about real life in the Philippines and things that I won't talk about on video, and I suggest you become a member of my Patreon community. I just posted the link 3 times at the bottom of the page. All right, so, okay, this is interesting to hear you talk about the mentality. So from Blue Rose Jedi, I saw your message. We're going to keep this one strictly about the Philippines right now. Jedi, okay, Sasha. Yeah, Jedi, you can send me the link on my Patreon page. I do believe you are a member of my Patreon page. Am I correct about that, Daisy? Jedi?
No, just said that.
Are you?
Only.
Yeah, there's. Oh, that's okay. Hold on a second. It's listed in alphabetical order. F, J, Jack, J. Okay, no, I don't see Jedi or Jaden. Okay, so I don't know how you could send me that link. I don't really want to post it here. Let's go back to the videotape here. Let's see. Thank you for the super chat, and we'll see who did that. El Chute, which means the pistol. The pistol. Thanks for the valuable information and entertainment, sir. Well, El Chute, we can only say thank you in return, and Daisy and I will sing. So, Daisy, let's get you in the picture, and you will say Salamat to El Chute in Visaya, and then we'll sing.
English?
He understands English, but say it in Visaya so they can hear you speak Visaya.
El Chute. How to pronounce?
El Chute. El Chute.
El Chute, salamat kaayo sa imuhang kwarta na gihatag diriya sa super chat. And ako ang isulti sa imuha, salamat kaayo na dako and amping permi and bless you. And because of that, we will sing for you a thank you. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much, El Chute. Salamat. Okay, so Jedi, I do know that you are a super chat provider. I'm trying to figure out a way to get you to send me the link, but not on here. So Milky Way has been removed. Thank you very much. That was my next project. So, Jedi, here's what I'm going to do. Are you a member of? Do you have a Facebook page, Jedi? I think you do. Okay, so let me go to my Facebook and get you a link for my Facebook page, and if you can also find the link to my Facebook page on any given day.
You can search the name on Facebook also.
I'm going to give them the link. There's 1,000 Michael Fazios on Facebook, Daisy. More than 1,000.
I know.
Okay, so they would have to know what the picture is and all of that stuff. And people are working from cell phones, and they don't want to go through all that trouble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the link to the exact, and this is for 100 people, Daisy, that may come here today. This is for...
It's not meant to them, to you, but you type only in Facebook, it automatically go to your Facebook account.
It's easier to do it this way, Daisy.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. You see how Filipinos are? They have an opinion, and if you don't agree with their opinion, they get that tampo shit.
Tampo?
Yes, it's tampo. Go ahead. I do it like this every time. I do it like this so I can explain to the people the easy way to find my Facebook page.
Yeah.
But I don't want to Google my name. I want to go through the process to open up my Facebook so I can see about other messages. You know that's what I do. So this is I will give you my Facebook page, and you can you can get to my Facebook page by going to my home page, clicking the About button, and then going down the page and going to the left Facebook page, because there's also two Facebook pages that will show up with the word Michael Fazio. So this is the simplest way. It's the Facebook page on the left that says Michael and Daisy May, and that's the best way to see my that's the best way to find me, to send me a private message on Facebook. Now, here is the link. I'm going to provide the link. I do this the same way every day. I do it for a reason, because maybe there's somebody working from a cell phone that I give them the link. It's easier to click on the link from a cell phone. And maybe somebody thinks that I'm explaining, or you're explaining, to put the words in for themselves. This is the way I do it. And that's the way I like to do it. And this is what's easy for me. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. All right. So, yeah, that's what it feels like, Warren. Okay. All right. So, I'm moving up the page. I'm moving down the page. That's right, Jedi. So I posted the link, Jedi, for you to go to my Facebook page and post the link if you like. I'm going to try to keep this completely about the Philippines for now, and not between other vloggers and myself. So I posted that link 3 times. If you care to send it, or if you don't want to send the link, you can send the title of the thing that you wish me to look. Fish, crazy expensive here, and it keeps going up. Freaking crazy expensive. Bush after Bush. Oh, they're raping the American public. So welcome, Fish. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so Warren says he's been stabbed 4 times in the line of duty. Feels like a weak-ass punch. and about 2 minutes later you feel it. I can imagine him still engaging with the person after he's stabbed until he feels it. So apparently someone got stabbed. Okay, so all right, I missed a lot of comments. Wow, I can't believe I have to go back up again. Okay, so, okay. I'll go down and try to skim through these comments. I got you, Jedi. Yeah, most definitely lurking now. All right, but we'll keep it. That will be where we start and stop that. Newitt Drew Edwards. This has been a great vlog. I like it much better. Thank you, Newitt. I did get all your messages. I responded to the best I can. But like I said, if you want to save money by coming to the Philippines on hotels, where to eat, where not to eat, I'll get you 20, 25%, 20, 25%, 33% discounts on hotels. For that, you have to become a member of my Patreon account. If I'm going to save somebody $200 or $300 or $500 or $1,000 on hotels in the local area of Bohol, I expect to be compensated for that. You don't want to compensate me for that? Don't become a member of my Patreon account. It's just that simple. Or you could make a one-time donation on Super Chat, and I'll help you with your issues by taking down your email address, and then we'll exchange phone numbers, and I'll call you up. That's not a problem either. It works. You don't have to give out a credit card to the to Patreon. You can make a one-time donation online here in Super Chat and make it reasonable. I mean, come on, don't send me $2 and expect for me to talk to you for 2 hours on the phone. I'm not going to do that. So if you're really coming to Bohol and you really want to know about where to go and what to do and how to save money on which hotels to go to, which hotels not to go to, which restaurants, I'll save you anywhere from 20 to 33% on hotels right on the ocean. I don't know any hotels off the ocean, and I'll save you the time to go to good restaurants and bad restaurants. Okay, some of them are just worthless. Okay, so that is my requirement, to give people information. If you don't agree with those requirements, Jedi, I know Jedi for a fact is a Super Chat provider, and also so is Jaden01, very generous Super Chat providers. So I don't mind answering their questions. If they send me their phone number on Facebook, I'll call them up from the Philippines. I have no problem with that. But I don't expect me to spend 2 or 3 hours a day and then I save you I literally saved the last man 600 pesos a day for 22 days, 14,000 pesos. I saved him $280. Literally, I said, and he bought me a lousy, he bought 400 pesos worth of fish, $8 worth of fish, and he ate half of it. Okay, and we cooked it. We used our ingredients, our breadcrumbs, our oil, our spices, and we cooked it. And that's what that was his way of saying thank you for saving him $300 and wasting about 10 hours of my time chit-chatting with me every day for the first 8 or 10 days he was here. Every day he was banging on my door. Hey, Mike, what about this? Hey, Mike, should I buy this piece of property? Hey, Mike, is that property? How much is that property? And what do I look like, a fucking real estate agent? Every single time he saw a for sale sign on a piece of property, he was banging on my door. I don't need that kind of happy horse shit. So anybody that has some really serious questions about the Philippines, become a member of my Patreon community or my Super Chat community, and we'll talk about it. So Okay, Jedi, I see your comment. Okay, Sasha and John Boonbean are talking engine blocks. Warren was stabbed. Yeah, I know exactly what that feels like, Warren. Thank you for removing these trolls, Warren. I see that you've done that. Okay, Jedi, I agree. Okay. Nobody is going to rush to help a foreigner in an alley in the middle of the night, Warren. You could rest assured, unless it's an actual police officer, you're probably not going to get a lot of help. Peekaboo 2, welcome. Now, Peekaboo 2, not a member of my Super Chat community and not a member of my Patreon community, but he took us out for the best hamburger I ever ate in the Philippines. Although since then the restaurant has changed hands. Food is just pure garbage. Everybody I talk to in Alona Beach says the same thing. And he also brought us a water pick that Daisy uses after. If she eats a cookie, she uses the water pick. That was quite an expensive gift. So, Peek? Oh God, I didn't send you. Are you? No, Peekaboo. I still didn't get your damn email out. Oh, Daisy, get this. Close the window, please. Get the cell phone. Let's get Peekaboo's email and get that out to him right now. I don't talk about the government proceedings in the Philippines here. Talk about the local people. Thank you, Peekaboo. You talk about the local people, some, charitable events, fiestas, stuff like that. I don't talk about politics in the Philippines. It's best that you don't get involved with politics in the Philippines. So Dennis Adams has provided a link to his video. I'm going to open up that link to make sure it's his video, which it is, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy down Dennis Adams' link, and I'm going to post it 3 times because I want you to go there, okay? I want you to go to this link on Dennis Adams' page, and I want you to subscribe to Dennis Adams. Now, remember, Dennis Adams is the person who, okay, that was the wrong link. I copied this. I'm having troubles with YouTube. They are changing their programs they're changing the computer programs. They're doing that algorithm thing. And I am actually watching my video all day yesterday and all this morning, even up until 8 o'clock. I will click on my video and a completely different video that I don't even have an open tab on will start playing. And when I find the video that's playing, it'll have a picture from my Super Chat on the video, but it'll be somebody else's video that's playing with my picture on the top of the video page. Something's going on with YouTube. Also, I'm having trouble loading videos. So this is all right. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to my email, okay, and I'm going to just take a moment, and I am going to send Peekaboo 2 150 videos for his most generous gift. All right, you can't say what this is. So first I have to go to one of my sent mails with the videos in them, and I just sent them out to another benefit of the larger super chat donators are that you get to see.
That's before the top.
It's on the top. Where?
That's right.
This.
Down to Scott. Now next.
Ah, okay, thank you. Okay, all right. So I'm going to forward this email now. It's got 100. I'm going to forward it to Peekaboo 2. You. So first I have to put it Peekaboo 2. It's on. It's going to be on its way. Daisy, correct me if I make a mistake.
Wrong.
What did I do?
Click 1, not up.
That says 1 right there. Okay.
See.
No, it's hard to see from where you are. It's very hard to see.
You see the one now. It focus to your finger.
Okay. Now, something else you should know about Daisy is when I'm typing, Daisy, I have to look at the keys on the typewriter. So when I'm typing, Daisy is following me with what I'm typing, and she will correct me when I make a mistake. If it's in caps or small letters, or I spell something wrong, or if I spell a word wrong, she instantly corrects me. That is what I had asked Daisy to do, and that's why I gave her the phonetic alphabet that's used by police and firemen and pilots, and that's why that's what I require. That because for me to make a mistake and go back and check spelling and blah blah blah, it's a pain in the neck. So Daisy is extremely helpful when I am making mistakes, and I make a lot of mistakes when I'm typing. So I'm going to send you some pictures. Also, Peekaboo 2, I'm going to send you some pictures that I know you're going to enjoy. They're low resolution pictures, but these are some of YouTube's favorite. You could use them for a screensaver, especially at work. These are some of the best of the best of the Obama series of pictures. Okay, I'm going to send you one where Mr. Obama is riding and riding and riding and riding and riding. I'm going to send that to you. Okay, and okay, so what we have to do is get this page open. See, now I just clicked on a picture with Mr. Obama riding and riding and riding, and it didn't upload to my if anybody's experienced problems with YouTube, I don't think it's about your page or about your stream or about data usage. My data usage is high, I mean low, and my stream is solid.